Hello and good evening. I am just doing a quick video of this book that I purchased. Now, I am still in the processes of doing other videos for other books that I'm currently reading. However, this is one that I brought online via eBay, and hopefully you can read the information clearly and concisely that is on the front cover. If you cannot, it actually says The Clever Gut Diet, How to Revolutionize Your Body from the Inside Out by Dr. Michael, or is it Michelle? I think it's Michael Mosley. I always struggle with Michelle and Michael. I do apologise. And when you actually turn over the page of this book to the information, where you have things like when it was published, who it was published by, copyright, etc., ISBN number, it clearly and concisely states that this book itself was published in 2017. Now, I don't know who this person is. I know absolutely nothing about this individual whatsoever. But I thought, you know what? Since I've been diagnosed with bile acid malabsorption, and prior to that, I was suspected IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, I thought, why not get this book now that I have a formal diagnosis of my condition? And hopefully there'll be something in this book that would be able to educate me and give me more information about my health problem. So if we go into part 1, number 2, into the small bowel and beyond, so that's page 37. Now, what a lot of people may or may not be aware of is that the gallbladder, even when you, hopefully it never happens to you, ends up being removed due to gallstones, which is what happened to me when I was 30. I was 31. I was pregnant with my first child. Prior to that, I'd had a lot of health problems. I'd probably been on Cocodamol, various strengths of paracetamol from the age of 16. I got diagnosed with suspected IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, when I was in my 20s. By the time I'd had my first child, with just under 12 months, I was quite lucky. Some people end up waiting for years. I had had my gallbladder removed. Now, if you look on this chapter here, it does mention the gallbladder. Right at the bottom of the page, gallbladder. And that is it. There's hardly any information. I'll try and read it to you. It says, as the tight fold on the wall of the small intestine, sorry, I'm trying to get the autofocus to work, churns and times in a fantastic corkscrew motion, digestive enzymes from the pancreas and gallbladder begin to flood into the gut. These enzymes break your food down in much the same way as a washing machine powder. I may have got that a little bit wrong. I'm trying to read it through my phone. And then it talks about a little bit more about the small bowel before it goes on to the large bowel and the colon. And when you come here to diseases of the small bowel, it mentions celiac disease, gluten insensitivity. Just turn over the page. Talks a little bit more about those conditions in more detail. And again, and again. Lactose intolerant is another thing. And then it talks about irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. and all of the information that this person has researched about what irritable bowel syndrome is. Then they come to what is called I believe you call it the appendix. Not appendix as in your body, but appendix in a book. And then there comes to the summary. Diseases of the small bowel are common and often hard to diagnose. And then it lists celiac disease, gluten intolerance, and irritable bowel syndrome. It does not list anything to do with the gallbladder itself. I have actually researched this whole book in its entirety, and it is only on that one page that I just showed you, page 37 to my knowledge, unless I've read it wrong, that the gallbladder is actually mentioned. There is nothing in this book about gallstones. There is nothing in this book about issues with the gallbladder or having the gallbladder removed. And there is nothing in this book about bile acid malabsorption, which is what I have now been formally diagnosed with. Yet these are conditions that do affect the small intestine. And based on the fact that this book was published in 2017, I was diagnosed with having my gallbladder removed in 2015. I was then formally diagnosed with bile acid malabsorption in 2021. So what I cannot understand is why these conditions have not been mentioned in this book. These are not rare or unusual conditions that people now suffer from. And yet it is not included, it's not even spoken about to even warn or advise people about how to keep your gut healthy, which is what this book is supposed to talk about. And it says very little about how to take care of the gallbladder or bile acid malabsorption. So what I will try and do is find this doctor, if he is still alive. That's how much the book cost me, by the way. And if they are still alive and I can manage to contact them somehow, probably via email, I am going to ask them the question, why is this information not in your book? And see if I get a response. So please bear with me, and I will continue to talk about living with bile acid malabsorption. Thank you.